Hi everyone. I'm not endorsing any particular gum company, but I was inspired or this helps with inspiration. Anyway, what I'm doing here today is I'm going to show you a little something that I've been doing since I was a kid, and I love doing it, and it's a great way to interact with trees. Why? I'm going to introduce you to something that I've never seen anybody else do. At least not to this degree, or a better way of putting it is, I've never seen anybody just randomly do this, which I've always loved doing it, and I'm going to introduce it to you in the way I do it. There's many variations. First and foremost though, respect the immediate area and understand that it's a living thing. And contrary to popular belief, plants do feel pain, and their functions go way beyond the understanding of men, and there is science to back this up. So I will do my best to put a link in with this video to help explicate that. But understand, trees have feelings, period. So do not break branches. And what I'm going to introduce you is what I call branch braiding. It's going to be done countless different ways, but quite simply, it's just taking 3 branches in concession and weaving them down to the last branch. This isn't the tree I'm going to do it to. The tree I'm thinking of is this long, tall, young oak. You know, that branch is already off. But you want to take any expired branches and get them out of your way. And you want the branches with the leaves. This is a great time of year to do this. Also in the springtime, the trees are a little bit more pliable. This isn't necessarily so, but because of time and availability for me to do this, I'm going to pick this point in the year. So as you can see, the leaves are changing. It's fall time. It's actually the middle of November. And so I'm going to take a branch like this one here, and again, take all the expired branches off, and you're going to lay this first branch down alongside the next 2 branches. Typically they come in 3s, and you're going to weave it in just like braiding hair. You're going to do this with care. Try not to break any branches. You know, you're going to flex them, and they will grow back if you bend them a little too much. But anyway, down to a point where you take the even smaller branches and you're weaving them together and braiding it. This doesn't hurt the tree. It gives it even more character than it already had. And I think it's better than writing in a tree. It's a way of signing it without really doing any damage to it. This actually will strengthen this branch quite a bit. So we're going to bend this down and use underneath your arm, especially when it's taller than you, to bring it down. And again, try not to break it. Well, again, we just copy that process of laying the first branch into the next 2 and continue to braid. Now just make sure the tree braiding is okay in your area. Of course that's a joke because there's no law, or not too many people even know about tree braiding, so but I try to be funny where I can. There you have it. Only 2 branches on this, but I picked this area also because we have all these small ones, and I'm going to show you why that's a great thing in a moment. Because you probably want to feel, you may feel like doing this in just an area like this. It's, you know, kind of secluded, not a lot of traffic, and it's something that you can bring yourself back to, friends, family, even your kids, depending on where you at in your life and who's in it, and actually show them year after year how these develop. So the reason I chose this area is we also have this beautiful maple. So we go from an oak to a maple, both hardwoods, and this one's actually a little shorter than me. Thank you for being shorter than me. Anyway, I'm going to lay this first branch in and underneath this next little branch, and then I'm going to take the main trunk and lean it in between. And again, I'm just going to copy the process that I've started with the oak and braid all these branches together. And just lay all the other little branches into the main ones. And as you get out to the top, as you can see here where they intersect with these next 2 big branches off this one main branch, I can clump middle ones together, clump these together, and then clump these together and continue. And then when I run short of one of the 3 branches, I just use the next biggest branch as my next 3. So on and so forth until you get to the very end. And to know you're successful, you'll see a little clump of leaves. Now the leaves will fall off naturally. If they don't and they get locked inside, eventually they'll just deteriorate and you won't even have to worry about taking them off. If you want to come back in the springtime and they're still there and take them out, then that's what you do. And if there's still a branch or 2 left, that's fine because other ones will develop. So if this is something that you want to do year to year, by all means, continue to do it. Now at the base of this oak, we've got 2 little ones. Okay, and this is great because this adds to what is already going on with this oak. And these 2 branches are actually coming from its very base, so it's the same tree. So essentially what I'm going to do is just leave this middle trunk where it is and just continue weaving the branches in and around it. There you go. And it'll grow like that. And it probably will relax and the branches won't stay exactly like that. You may have to do it again to some degree. But for the most part, they'll stay where they are. And we can move on through. Now, here's a maple, an oak, and we got another maple. Now this one is already laying down. Well, we're going to have to forget the oak, but we'll take these 3 maples, lay them into each other, just like so, and then again, sorry about that, I had to adjust the camera. And I will get close-ups of this after I'm done so you have a better appreciation of how this is done. So I'm leaning all these individual trees, maples in this instance, together. And I'm just going to find a central point. And then each one of these, again, without stressing the branch or breaking it, you're going to continue on with the braiding process until you hit one central spot. Now, one of the great things about photography that I found is finding natural forms like this. You're not going to find one naturally braided, but trees that grow in and around one another is a pretty fascinating subject for a lot of photographers that film nature. And so I'm just kind of giving a leg up that one day somebody will be really surprised as they walk through the woods here to find 3 trees that are braided together. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be 3. You can do a braid of just about any number. You can even braid a tree in on itself. Another thing that I've done in the past is actually take, like this oak, I'm going to bend around back into itself, and I actually take the branches and I can either pull them through this circle and back in and around, or I can braid it back onto its own trunk. Again, this doesn't necessarily hurt the tree at all. It's just you're motivating it, kind of like a bonsai trainer would train the tree to do what you want it to do. So I guess tree braiding is basically a form of bonsai.